This is Last Call Fantasy Football, May 30th, one day from June. Actually, no, that is not true. May has
Nope,
31 days.
it
I was,
does. Yeah.
I was looking at the calendar and I'm like, damn.
Don't worry, you got couple more days for rent.
Well, my last working day was today, so if I ain't got it now, I ain't going to get it then.
True that.
But welcome to the show. We've got a different type of mock draft today. We're going to be doing one together. Only top 4 rounds. We're just going to go back and forth, alternating picks. I don't know. We didn't decide who's getting the first pick. Who's getting the first pick?
I say Rochambeau.
Okay. So essentially, what we're doing today is it's off season, so we're finding new fun things to do. Did you just?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you
I put it up
did.
to my mouth and then I
Yes, you
remembered.
did.
I didn't take a sip.
So Justin's trying to break the tradition of first sip together before we get the show started, but in the audacity in the middle of me trying to explain what the hell we're doing today, you're trying to cheat the system, man.
I tried.
Well, you failed. I caught your ass. Whatever. So we're doing a mock draft today. We are going to alternate picks first 4 rounds. We're not going to sit here and go forever because we're going to be picking every pick. We're not just going to be picking for a team. So it's essentially just going to be a compilation of our ADP, where we think these players should go.
Yeah.
And
It's where we think people should get drafted.
right. And most of this is off the cuff. I know we have our own thoughts to start. However, it's going to be interesting to see how well we get along with these picks and where we think these players should go.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be interesting to make picks without having team bias.
yeah, because we're not going to have it has nothing
Like
to do
just
with team build.
it's just the best player available.
Best player available. Yeah, I mean, there could be a little bit.
Should we
No,
like pay attention? Like, okay, this team already has a quarterback. Like, obviously,
yeah, yeah, for sure. We could do that. That way, it wouldn't just be a team doesn't end up the first 4 rounds, first 4 wide receivers or something, which people have done. So maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know, but I think that we should really maybe 25% take that into consideration, knowing that if this were a real draft, there would still be 75% of the draft left to go. Fair?
yeah, sure.
Cool. Um, yeah, do you have anything you want to start the show off with? We didn't prep much news or anything else that's going on. We just wanted to hop on, do this mock draft. What's going on in the football world?
Yeah, I don't know.
OTA started as it's May 30th. First week of OTAs down for at least my Broncos.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet right now. I feel like there's not a lot of news. Uh, Amike Buka looked pretty fire though in camp. Not gonna lie, saw some videos of him.
But see, this is what I was gonna say. We're basically in as obviously if you don't know at this point, should know, Broncos fan. So I follow all the Broncos like beat reporters and all this stuff, and it's like Bo Nix with a handoff to RJ Harvey. And it's just like
Yeah,
a 9-year-old playing two-hand touch football would do this at the same level of execution. Like we're fiending off of practice clips that are I don't know.
the only
We
I
don't
pay
want to get
attention
Calvin
to
Ridley.
how people look against other players though. But it's really you can really only see it with well, I guess you can see it with any position really, but I always notice it with the wide receivers. Remember the video of Calvin Ridley last year? And we were
Well,
like,
I don't think
holy
it was.
shit,
It
like
wasn't
this guy
last
is
year. It was the year before.
okay. Well, I just remember it was like, holy shit.
Well,
Like
that's
it was like Calvin Ridley and then it was Traylon Burks, I think.
no, no,
And it was
no.
like this guy is insanely
You're
like
you're on the right track. However, it was Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones on the Jags. That was the video. It was Zay
maybe.
Jones running a route, and then it was Calvin Ridley crushing the route behind. Which I'm still in on Calvin Ridley. This isn't a dunk on Calvin Ridley. However, Calvin Ridley comes out with those highlights in camp, and then
He was pretty good on the Jags
he
his
was
first year.
fine. He was fine for the first 4 games. We thought Calvin Ridley was like
Yeah.
Jesus reincarnated, and then it slowly trailed off, and it was like, okay, Calvin Ridley and the Jags and whatever that situation was. However, that's just my point. Is this point, the end of May, we're just like fiending for football content. So teams are putting out their little clips, whatever they're allowing their media members to sit in on, and it's like, okay, yeah, Cortland Sutton caught a 15-yard post route while jogging. Like,
Yeah.
we're just waiting for some big
In
news
shorts,
to happen.
No pads. Maybe
Well-
a helmet. Maybe
well-
they were helmets, but
I was gonna say, I think he had a helmet on. Maybe he had pads on. No, I don't think he had I don't think he had pads on. But
nah, I don't think they were pads.
point being, it's a slow part of the NFL cycle. We're waiting for the next wave of free agency too. I saw there's still an insane number of free agent running backs, which maybe I'm putting too much stock in this because all of these guys are like old wash busted players. But like J.K. Dobbins still doesn't have a home. Cam Akers is still out there. I don't know if you knew that. He's a free agent. Who else? I know like some
Nick
lesser
Chubb.
ones. Nick Chubb is still out there, which I think is crazy. So, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper. I'm very curious because not that those. It's crazy,
Stephon Gilmore. I mean, not for fantasy football, but yeah.
but just
There's
those
defensive
are
players
those
too.
are names that have held such a high name value for fantasy for so long. I'm curious if it's my brain lying to me and not willing to accept that these are done players that are done, or is this a strategic time between them and their agents and their team, like where they go next? What's your take on that?
I think that they're vets and they don't want to participate in all this bullshit,
That could
and they're
be
gonna
true
wait
too.
to sign until after all the training.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that if you're fighting for a roster spot, which not that they're like fighting for it, but you definitely don't get the benefit of the doubt. You would
I-
want to do everything you can if you're still trying to play to like be on a roster.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a lack of interest from teams. I think it's their decision. At least some of the vets. Like I think Nick Chubb, I think Amari Cooper, and Keenan Allen. I think teams are probably going hard after them because they're cheap vets and they're proven. But I think they're just waiting to see what's the best option, and let me just
Yeah.
do the vet thing and skip OTAs.
So do we
I think
think?
that's what's happening.
Well, I don't doubt that there's some just like waiting in the wind for the best opportunity because say I don't know, not to put this out there, but I'm going to do it cuz fuck you. Say Jonathan Taylor tears ACL in training camp. Do you
Yeah.
think Nick Chubb is not going to be one of the first calls they make at this point? You know, are they waiting for or J.K. Dobbins, is he going to be one of the first calls they make to go into the season, or hell, if it's midseason? Do you think like a lot of players are waiting for that opportunity, or are they just biting the bullet and seeing who calls prior to that top landing spot, that top necessity?
Well, look what LaShawn McCoy and Leonard Fournette did. That's basically what Nick Chubb is doing right now. And that's
Right.
what they did every season. They would wait until we're like, oh my gosh, somebody's really not going to sign Leonard Fournette. Like he's pretty good on the Bucks this year, and then he just waits until the beginning of the season. He gets signed.
Yeah.
Somebody goes down in training camp. He goes to the Chiefs.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm curious if the league is saying that they're done, or if they don't feel like taking a $2 million 1-year deal to sit behind Christian McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying? Like, if those are on the table and they're saying no, or if nothing is on the table and the league thinks they're washed. I don't know. I just think it's like you can be on one side of the coin or the other.
Yeah, I think it's definitely some players are definitely on the wash side.
Who's more washed, Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen?
Amari Cooper, I
See?
think.
I
I think
that's crazy.
I think Keenan Allen is more of a technician. Like I don't think that he was ever the fastest or the strongest. So I don't think that his talent is necessarily going to go away as quick as Amari Cooper's. Like I feel like those big wide receivers like Des Bryant types, like Amari Cooper is, I feel like once they just lose a step, not even like that much, but just lose a tiny step, they're done.
Yeah, and very well could be. I hope it's not true because I'm a big fan of Amari Cooper, but I don't know. I think that's an interesting conversation too. But nonetheless, enough talking about players that are not currently on NFL teams. You want to get this thing going?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now, oh yeah, that's right. We got a Rochambeau. You know what? Hold on. Let's drink first. I'm tired of waiting. I got an ice cold frosty Leinenkugel summer shandy as it's about to be summer. Is it officially summer? Do we know what this summer?
Oh, it's not.
See, I didn't think so.
But also, I tried a whiskey ginger ale.
Yeah, it's elite.
That shit was ass.
Your ass. Whatever.
I will say, it was Scotch.
I don't know. If it ain't that
Scotch.
Kentucky bourbon, I don't want it.
Definitely tastes different than bourbon, but still, I don't know.
Do you even like ginger ale?
I actually love ginger ale, yeah.
Hmm.
And I'm a big fan of like Moscow mules. I thought it would be like that.
No, I mean, I don't know. Ginger ale to me is just like a more flavorful Sprite. That's how I see it. So,
yeah.
Anyways, he's making fun of me because that's my favorite drink at this moment in time. And I will be having one after we finish the show. But let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
All right. Rochambeau. Rock, paper, scissors. Or what do the Yankees say? What do the degenerate Americans say? Paper, scissors, rock.
What?
Yeah. You know that not all
the only
people
thing
say.
I know is rock, paper, scissors, or rock, paper, scissors, shoot, or Rochambeau.
There's people that say paper, scissors, rock.
That's stupid.
That
sounds like a Boston thing.
And I'm telling you, it's someone either
paper, scissors, rock.
Paper, scissors, rock.
Oh, yeah, you gotta pronounce the rock.
Rock. Go park the car on the rock. All right, ready?
Yep.
Rock. Wait, we doing shoot?
Are we doing rock, paper, scissors, shoot, or rock? I was rock, paper, scissors growing up.
No, see, that's even jail worthy. It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, ready?
It always confused me, but yeah.
Ready? Rock, paper, scissors. Wait. Hold on. This is hard to time like through the internet. Hold on. Rock.
Hold on. I can't see your hands, and you can't see my hands.
Okay. So
let's just
do it down low, and then
yeah,
then pull it out of the screen.
Yeah.
Let me see what this looks like. All right, ready? All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Bitch!
You fucking were way behind me, bro.
Well, I didn't know we were trying to do it at the same time.
Did you actually have scissors?
I swear to God, on my life.
All right.
I even hit my finger on the desk going up, and it kind of hurt. All right, so I get the first pick.
All right, you can go first.
Which this is not even like it's nothing. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't even really care, but
Anyways, all right. So let me switch us over. Mock draft. Dun, 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 dun. So Justin is in control of this. And if he's in control of anything, it's not his body. God damn it. All right. So Justin is going to be managing this as he's got his PC now, so we can get a little funky and get a little crazy over here on Last Call Fantasy Football.
We're basically engineers.
I just imagine us as like engineers, like the monkey with the symbol, ting, ting, ting. But whatever. Let's get it on. With the number one pick in the 2025 Fantasy Football 4-round Last Call Fantasy Football mock draft, says Roger Goodell every year. The number one pick will be Jamar Chase.
Hold on.
You jacked it up, you junkie monkey fuck. What did you do?
Oh man.
Oh, this is what we get. Oh no! Oh no! Well, so go ahead and oh yeah, undo them all. Undo them all.
Oh, can I undo them? No.
What did you do? Oh, and there goes Justin's video.
Shoot.
How did you manage to do this? How do you undo? Can't you undo them all?
I'm gonna have to reinvite you.
Why? What did you do?
Well, I just messed up. You can't just like restart the draft.
You can undo picks though. No?
Nah, I tried.
Oh. All right. Well, go ahead and do
But
that.
luckily the settings are the same, so I just need to change one thing and we should be good.
All right. Cool. Oh, sweet. Well, easy enough, and that should work for OBS too. Okay, sweet.
All right.
I almost clued everyone into our
Try this
Discord
again.
chat. All right. With the 2020 first pick in the 2025 NFL Last Call Fantasy Football. Turn off the damn sounds. Unless that's me. Did I do that? Oh, my sounds
That's
are on.
you.
It said, bring. All right. Whatever. It ain't a secret. It's going to be Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's
I
not
mean,
what I would do.
no, not at all.
No, that's
Says-
what I would do.
Oh, you said that's not what I would do.
I mean, it's between him and Saquon, but honestly, it's just rare that I still am going to draft Saquon high,
Mm-hmm.
but it's rare that a running back does that twice.
Yeah, but again, I don't think he even necessarily needs to do that to be worthy of the first overall pick. Like, think about all the years that
No, but if he's not
McCaffrey-
going to be the number one overall running back, somebody else is.
no, which is true, but when you're picking at the number one overall pick, it's like this person is going to be great regardless. Okay, Saquon could
Yeah.
very easily finish at the RB5, and if you draft him at the 101, you're still going to be happy. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
if you're
he's definitely
expecting to get a repeat number one overall finishes because you pick at number one, then you're going to be sorely mistaken 99% of the time. So,
yeah,
I don't. Well, why are we talking about Saquon? Let's talk about Jamar Chase, man. But it is between Jamar Chase and Saquon, in my opinion, for the first overall pick. Jamar Chase, everything in his situation is just about the same. He's
yeah.
amazing. Don't overthink it. If you want to go receiver, it purely depends. So, like, team one here, they're going to, if they want a receiver, go Chase. If you want a running back, go Saquon. I'll leave it at that.
and that's what I'm going to pick, Saquon.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's a toss up between the two. Don't complicate it. Pick one of those guys. I mean, yeah, I don't think anybody's picking anything but that with the first two picks.
No, I don't think so either. I think you can make an argument for this person, which it just feels not as good.
I'd maybe make the argument for Bijan.
Well, hey, it's my turn to pick, man. So,
Go ahead.
oh, that's right. I can't actually pick. So, yeah, it was going to be Bijan.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, Bijan was going to be my pick. Only in the fact that I think the Falcons are going to be an immensely improved team this year. I think that helps
Yeah.
Bijan. I like Michael Penix. I'm in, and you need to put him in as the pick before time runs out, my boy.
No, I know. I'm just letting you talk because then the timer's gonna start over for me
Oh,
too.
true. Okay, but yeah, so if I can't have Saquon, I want Bijan at running back, and so again, it just comes down to philosophy. And I'm looking at the receivers here and like the upside. Again, we're grasping at straws, but if I was the third spot, I'm taking Bijan.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, there's just question marks around other players right now, so I like it. Bijan today is at the third spot. I think we're pretty much agreeing so far, so that's interesting.
Like,
Um,
I don't think there's much room to fuss in the top 3, 4 picks, so
I
it's
think
gonna.
Bijan is controversial. I don't think a lot of people would have him. I think it would usually, honestly, be Gibbs or Jefferson or CD.
No, I think Bijan is 3 or 4, should be anyways.
I would take him.
And you know what? This timer, because you didn't do a timer, this is gonna keep us on track, which is probably
Yeah,
a good
honestly,
thing.
I was going to. Once I realized there was a timer, I was like, "Oh my gosh, we'll just restart it real quick." But then I was like, "You know what?
We're gonna need this. We tend
feel
to
like it's gonna
go
help
off on
us a little bit.
tangents. Nah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
All right. So at this point, I feel like it gets a little hairy. I feel like it's just what you prefer. But I feel like you just got to go tried and true here. So the pick for me would be Justin Jefferson. It's a little sketchy going into it with JJ McCarthy, but it seems like nobody can fail in that Kevin O'Connell system. And a lot of people are saying that JJ McCarthy would have been the #1 overall pick this year if he was in this draft. So, you know,
The quarterback concerns. I mean,
if he can survive Sam Darnold, I think he'll be all right with JJ McCarthy.
exactly. Like JJ McCarthy has not had a body of work in the NFL that has sucked. Sam Darnold has, and if coaching
many
and
years.
coaching and system like helped elevate Sam Darnold to be the player he could have been this whole time. Okay, well guess what? McCarthy's got the same thing going for him, and
If not,
right.
yeah, if not more talented, honestly.
So I'm big time in on Justin Jefferson this year. So if he falls again, he fell last year in drafts, which was a huge mistake. Wide receiver 2, which we all feel dumb.
Yeah.
But as my time is running out, and we both selected what we're expecting our main league spots to be.
Would you have went Justin Jefferson there?
Unfortunately, no. Which again, I just said overthink it because this is who I'm kind of hoping comes to me, and it'll be CeeDee Lamb. If you want to plug him in there, CeeDee Lamb doesn't have the quarterback issues coming his way. Not that like I just went on a tangent saying that JJ McCarthy is going to be fine and not to overthink it. However, I think CeeDee Lamb is just in the same tier as Justin Jefferson as a player, with a quarterback with an established wide receiver room. They don't have a run game. They're gonna have to chuck it, and I just saw what CeeDee Lamb has been capable of the last 2 years, and it's insane. Again, don't overthink this. And so if a player like CeeDee Lamb could fall to 3 or the third receiver to me at 5, I'm be licking my chops because just from the way that ADP and mock drafts have shaken out so far, I think the wide receiver talent drops off in the middle and is deeper at the end of the draft. So if you can get the one of them ones in the first round, that would be my advice so far.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I would prefer Gibbs there, just because they added Pickens. Truthfully, Lamb has always been kind of like a volume king. So I'd be interested to see now that there's going to be at least like, at the very least, this is the best wide receiver that's ever been across from him.
That 1
I'd
year
just be
from Amari
interested
Cooper.
to see how much volume he loses that he was, I wouldn't say relying on, but maybe it takes away from that,
Sure.
infinite ceiling.
Yeah, which it very well
and
could be
Gibbs
true.
just a beast.
So I'm assuming Gibbs is
That's
your
what I'll be
pick.
taking. Yeah, I will be taking Gibbs.
Gibbs at the 106. That top
Again,
three.
not really anything changing other than Ben Johnson leaving. And, I think that I was actually thinking about this today. It's interesting that the Bears' offense the last couple of years has been ground and pound and then let Jared Goff sling it with the defense stacked up trying to stop the run game. But yet the Bears have no run game planned.
Yeah.
Which kind of proves what I was about to say is I think that that's more of Dan Campbell's offense rather than Ben Johnson's. I think they kind of mixed together and made a really good thing there, but I think that that was not necessarily his specialty. So I think he'll be fine going into the season, Dan Campbell.
Yeah. Again, for the last 2 years that Gibbs has been elite. I drafted him his rookie year, where he just kind of was around in the first half of the year, and it felt bad. They used the number 11 overall pick in the draft on him, and it felt bad. But he has slowly come to tell everyone, hey, it does not matter that David Montgomery is on this team. David Montgomery is coming off an injury. I don't think that'll be too much of a concern. But again, don't overthink the timeshare. Gibbs is the most efficient running back in football, and he's going to get his. So no problem with him being the third running back off the board. And same thing with the offense. Go ahead and select me, Amon-Ra St. Brown, as wide receiver 4. And again, I'm trying to get past my personal experiences in the past and look at what these players have provided. Amon-Ra St. Brown, to me, for whatever reason, he can't cross into that like fun, exciting tier, but he is heavily targeted, is actually a great touchdown guy, which is my pick, like my personal fantasy strategy.
Yeah. I think it's hella exciting because he gets a ton of touchdowns, and it seems like when you watch these Lions games, it's just Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
It's just
it's
him.
Like he catches every single pass of the offense.
His stat line is like a hybrid of an X and a slot receiver, and it doesn't make sense. And I've finally come around to realizing like he can be that number one, that focal point on your team. Not that he wasn't going to be that before, but now I'm excited about it. So if number 4 receiver off the board, Amon-Ra, that doesn't surprise me.
He's not as flashy, but I do think he's like kind of similar to Keenan Allen.
Yeah, except
at least just like
the touchdowns are his, and he's like the glue that makes everything work on that team.
Yeah, well, Keenan Allen was a touchdown machine as well at times in his career. But all right, let me think here. I think I actually might have to start thinking here. This time limit is getting a little stressful. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, you know what we can do is, as long as what the heck? As long as one of us is talking about the players, the other one can think. So you better make your selection right now, my G. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, that's a good pick.
I made it.
That was a good pick. I contemplated Neighbors over St. Brown, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I think it's Neighbors. You know, I feel like Puka, it's the same thing you were saying with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Where, you know, it's like he doesn't do anything super flashy, but he's just always open, and he makes good plays. But Neighbors, we were talking about it over text earlier, he just is fail-proof. Like, he has Russ as his main quarterback, who, you know, he's going to get him targets. He's better than Daniel Jones. And Neighbors was good with Daniel Jones. And then whenever he gets benched, you got Jameis Winston. That's even better. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it was really a realization that I had today, and not that I didn't know. If you were to ask me who are the quarterbacks for the New York Giants, I would be able to tell you. But
Yeah,
the way I thought of and had the thoughts of Malik Neighbors currently was like he's on an ass team. No one's going to get him the ball,
yeah,
but he's going to be a volume monster, and he's great with the ball in his hands, so he'll be able to make something out of it. But that's not the case anymore. He has Russ, who is fine enough, as much as it hurts me to say. He can get the guy the ball if he needs the ball. And then Jameis, if he gets thrown in there, hell yeah, chuck it deep, my guy. And then Jackson Dart is a promising first round talent. If somehow he ends up on the field this year, we'll see. Like, I mean, he's got 3 separate options. Oh, you paused the draft?
yeah. I can pause it.
Whoa. Yeah, I didn't know that.
There we go.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. But point being, I'm more in on Malik Neighbors than I had been. Not that I was out. Again, we're
Yeah.
talking first round talent, so I'm not out on any of these guys personally. But to say, hey,
No,
I'm going
this
to
is
make
basically us ranking like the players essentially.
this. Yeah, it's tougher than one might think to be able to say this elite player I will take over this other elite player. But with that being said, I'm going to go another receiver here, so you can go ahead and let it play. Is Nico Collins. I was super
over
bullish.
Puka.
Yeah, I'm willing to be wrong again. Puka is in the Amon-Ra St. Brown category for me, just 1 year behind, and I'll explain real quick. Essentially, I love Nico Collins. I watch him play. I think he's insane. I tried to trade for him extensively in our Dynasty League because he has a solid quarterback for a long time to get him the ball. He's bona fide alpha on the team. Tank Dell is dead to me. Stephon Diggs is gone. And he's got 2 rookies behind him with no competition. The run game is going to be good enough to where it's not like Joe Mixon is in their run game is elite to where he's not going to get the opportunities, similar to how I am starting to view A.J. Brown with Saquon. It's going to be good enough. They're going to have a balance. And Nico Collins is the exact type of fantasy player that I want on my team as far as role on the team, guaranteed target volume, touchdown upside, home run ability. I'm huge into Nico Collins.
I agree. I love Nico Collins too. I feel like this is for me. It's just a coin flip of preference.
Yeah.
Because I view them almost. They're very similar players, really.
As him and Puka, talking about?
Yeah, I mean they're just target machines, always open.
Yeah.
And they make big plays,
Mhm.
and they have good quarterbacks, and it's basically it's just a coin flip of who you like more, and I don't hate that because you got rookies as competition for
And that's where I draw the line.
Nico
is-
Collins, and then you got Devontae Adams coming in
Exactly.
for Puka. So
Exactly. And like I said, think about what you want about Devontae Adams, but you can't say that he isn't one of the best wide receiver 2s in the NFL, if you even want to call it that at this point. So,
yeah, I definitely sure. I don't think he's as good as he was, but
sure, but we're talking about 2s here now.
yeah, no, I agree. And Matt Stafford seems to be trailing off a little bit as well. I don't know. He's just not really seemed all there. So
Well, so
I
is that
mean,
going to be your pick then, or are we going another
you
place?
know, I'm gonna be honest. If it wasn't for the fact that Brian Thomas unfortunately had Travis Hunter go to his team,
Yeah.
it would have been Brian. I think I would have picked Brian Thomas. I think I would have chosen him over Neighbors. Going
I think it's fair.
into the draft.
I don't think anyone would fault you for that.
And yeah, unfortunately, it's not that way now. I think I would take Puka here.
All
I
right.
just think he's going to be good. There's no doubt about it.
He's great, and again, I said he's in the Amon-Ra St. Brown where he's like been producing and been a star, and it's been hard for me to like elevate that name to that point in time, but he is more than deserving of it. He's can be a focal point. He's proven nothing but him being elite. So
I mean, the way that he came in, he like Cooper Cup was not even the slightest bit washed when he came in, and he just kind of took his job from him.
yeah,
So I'm not necessarily scared of Devontae Adams. Honestly, I'm more so scared of Matt Stafford being able to support two wide receivers at this point in his career. That's more so my fear.
yeah, and I mean, you know me, I'm a huge Devontae Adams fan, even to this point in the league or in his career. I still think he's one of the best receivers in the league, and I think that dynamic kind of like knocks him down a teeny tiny tier, and the diva-ness that comes with Devontae Adams as far as target share and whatnot. Again, splitting hairs here at the back of the first round. Boo-hoo. Still elite. Gonna love him, and he's gonna be great.
See, your issue was you weren't an AJ Green fan.
AJ Green.
So you still ride all of these wide receivers to the grave. Whereas I was a really big AJ Green fan, and I already got burnt.
I'm not riding receivers to their grave. I'm riding.
We call Amari Cooper.
Well, okay, but listen, the last game of fantasy for Amari Cooper prior to this last year, he had over 200 yards. There was no indication that he was washed like that. There was no indication of that. So
He did have a good season.
He did have a good season.
Had a really good last game.
Once Joe Flacco came in, he had a good season, and I'm tired of arguing with you about the 2023 Amari Cooper because he was good. He was borderline great, and I had the stats to prove it. And we're 2 years later, so I'm done. It's over.
I was right, so that's all that matters.
Well, so enough of the chitter chatter. It's time to get down to the nitty gritty. All right.
That's how you get to his soft side.
I have a soft spot for Amari Cooper. All right. Point being, I said enough of the chitter chatter. Damn it, we're getting into the nitty gritty of the picks, and I'm prepared to feel your wrath. Not really, because this guy's great. Give me Ashton Genty as the RB4 off the board.
Wow.
Give me Genty as the RB4 off the board.
You know,
and the only reason I think he makes it out of the first round, at least right now, is we have so many elite receivers. But I think if you look at like RB number X, I think RB number 4 is beautiful.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with that pick there. Just looking at who's left, I mean, you got Brian Thomas, Derrick Henry, Brock Bowers, Drake London. I mean,
but not even thinking about like
my only thing is like
wise.
The one name, honestly, the two names. There's three names that I think that could compete with that spot. Which obviously we're gonna get to the points where it's like everything's conjecture. It's all opinion based at some point in this. Like especially now that we're getting out the first round. I do think Christian McCaffrey is really getting slept on.
It's just injury concern, man, and risk. That is the only thing going against him.
Which has always been a concern, except he keeps putting together these full seasons and dominating and is the best running back we've ever seen. And it's,
which
it is tough. I think it's tough to put Ashton Genty, a rookie.
It's just those concerns have been every year, and people have been burned, and it is quite the risk. And again, those were years past. He's now another year older. So I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm still in on Christian McCaffrey. I know people are OUT out, but that's just the case. Ashton Genty is, I'll say it once, I said it a million times, he's the best prospect I've seen since Saquon. And he has everything you could possibly want in Vegas. I know it's risky drafting a rookie running back so high. You will not regret it. And the volume alone and the how he plays. Like, there's no knocks. That's why he was drafted as the 5th overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So I will happily take him. Hell, I would take him as in the first round if I knew I was going to go running back, and depending on where you drafted. So if way to think about it this way.
Gibbs.
Well, so think about this. Well, personally, I don't know it. I wouldn't put him past this big 3 right here for one reason, and that's just like shown production. Well, right, but but these guys are elite at the shown production. However, what I was going to say is, like, depending on where you draft, right? So if you're in the top 6, like we had 3 receivers, 3 running backs, okay, you can go Barkley, Robinson, Gibbs. But if you're after that, you're not getting those guys. And if the way you want to build your team is running back in the first round, I have no problem with him going at the RB4 at any point during the draft, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So say if whoever was in Justin's spot where the Amon-Ra St. Brown was taken, if they wanted to go running back, Genty is worth that pick right there.
I mean, I pick at 7, and honestly, I've been thinking, like, if Genty gets me at 7, is it almost worth it to, because right now I'm kind of leaning towards taking a Neighbors, Amon-Ra if he gets to me, CeeDee Lamb. I don't think CeeDee Lamb's going to get to me, but, it's possible. Those are kind of the guys I'm looking at, which are wide receivers. But honestly, just looking at the board now, I'm like, there are, like, so many good receivers in this first round that could slip into the second, whereas, like, I do think there's a drop-off at running backs here. Do you just take Genty with the 7th and say, whichever guy falls to me, whether it's Brian Thomas, Drake London, AJ Brown, do you just let them fall to you and take the guy that you really want in Genty?
That's the way I look at it too. And it just completely depends on what you view of the player is going to be potentially available around when your next pick is. Like I said, if you in your spot, and I mean, this is only a 10-man mock draft, but say you're in a 12-man too. You know that you want a running back in the first round, but you pick at 7. Like, take the guy that might be available in the second round in some other situations, depending on how the board goes, because if that's how you want to build your team, you're going to be happier about it based off of what is available in the past or in previous mocks or depending on how each member of each league likes to build their team. So
take your guy. That's honestly, like, something that I've really started doing the last couple of years, and I think it's paid off every single time I've done it, for the most part.
Yeah.
I did do that with Anthony Richardson, so that didn't pay off. But I also did with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
I think I actually reached on him around higher because I was like, I am not letting this guy slide past me this year. I really want this guy. I think I drafted him like around early last year, and I don't regret it.
Yeah. I mean, clearly not. He was what? He finished as the wide receiver 5? Something like that?
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead and pick your guy for team number 9.
This is going to be a shocker, people.
Don't do something stupid here. You're going to do something stupid, aren't you?
I don't think it's going to be stupid.
No, it's not stupid at all.
Best tight end in the league.
Yeah, no, not stupid at all. He wasn't going to make it to this next pick. So,
yeah, I'm just looking at who's left. It's like there's nobody who's going to be the best. Well, I can't say that there's nobody. Actually, yeah, I will say. From my point of view, I don't think anybody else left is finishing as the number 1 at their position except this guy.
Yeah.
I think Drake London and Brian Thomas could. Christian McCaffrey could. But this guy's going to.
I don't know.
That's the thing.
Trey McBride's coming for his spot.
Once Marvin Harrison breaks out, Trey McBride will still be good, but he's not going to be on Bowers' level.
I know. Bowers is insane.
What Bowers did with fucking Aiden O'Connell is actually bonkers, dude.
Gardner
And now he has
Minshew.
Geno Smith, who's pretty decent.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Pro Bowl quarterback Geno Smith.
NFL Hall of Famer Geno Smith.
He's on his way.
Oh my
Him
god.
and Brock Bowers could do some magical shit.
I think Geno Smith is the second oldest starting quarterback in the league. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, currently behind Matthew
Well, 'cause
Stafford.
Rodgers isn't signed.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Third.
No, he's not. Because Stafford's older than him.
I just said that. I think that's it.
Okay, Stafford and Russ are definitely both older than him.
I don't know if Russ is older.
Russ is definitely older than
Look it up.
him.
Look it
Geno
up.
Smith
Look it
was
up.
drafted in, like,
Look it up on your phone while I do this, because I mean the disrespect, all the negative things we've said about a man who has not deserved it and who finished last year as wide receiver 4.
yeah, Russ is older.
Russ is older by how much?
2 years.
Damn. Well, maybe that stat came out before Russ was signed. I don't know, but whatever.
Maybe.
It just give me Brian Thomas, bro. He should be around this range, depending on each individual person's preference. He deserves to go here. Travis Hunter is, if you watched last episode, he's my number 1 rookie receiver fantasy option this year, but that doesn't scare me. I think the Jags unfortunately might be onto something, and it's another I don't know what it is with me. I'm betting on the Jags and the Bears this year. So I think the Jags have a very decent chance at winning the division. I don't think the AFC South is very good. So I think
I don't think they did shit for their defense, but
that offense should be fine, which I don't give a shit about their hell, make their defense bad. I don't care. Throw it 45 times to Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter.
yeah,
So,
I don't think they have a shot at winning the division. And I'm not even saying that because I think the Colts do. But I mean, you got to get through the Texans.
yeah,
But
Texans
also, I just don't believe in Trevor Lawrence. He's already had really good wide receivers all around the board. He had Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. And
okay.
I mean, Brian Thomas, and we'll see what Travis Hunter is. But, Brian Thomas is better than both.
Better than both what? Go ahead.
Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk.
Yeah, no shit.
Although I will say, I don't think that Brian Thomas is that much better than Calvin Ridley.
I do. I think Brian Thomas is
Actually.
elite.
I think Calvin Ridley is elite when he has a good situation.
If we did a scale of like 1 to 100, I put Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, think about this. Madden rating.
Well, think about this. Brian Thomas didn't do anything until Mac Jones came in.
That's not true.
Dude.
He
Sure about
had
that?
he had his biggest games of the year with Mac Jones. However, he had plenty. Brian Thomas Jr. finished as the wide receiver 4. You don't finish as the wide receiver 4 after having 4 games with Mac Jones. You don't do that.
He didn't. He had way more than 4 games with Mac Jones.
I'm guesstimating, but what I'm saying is
I
it
think he
wasn't
also
the whole.
finished as the wide receiver 6, but it's not that big of a difference.
Well, in our league, he finished as a wide receiver 4. But listen.
Oh yeah, because we have those bonus points.
Mm-hmm. So go. Well, we got to keep this thing moving. We're at 50 minutes. We ain't even made it halfway through the second round. So. Oh, it's my pick. Ooh. Oh, no, I picked Brian Thomas. So go ahead and pick him, and then let's start to speed run through this one a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this one's. I think this player deserves to go over Brian Thomas, but toss up again. I just think this player has less worries, and it's Drake London.
Yeah, I'm really big on Drake London this year.
I mean, I just think that he's kind of fail-proof. And so I think it's a little. I think Brian Thomas honestly might have the higher ceiling though, but Drake London's just a little safer, and I think they're both. Honestly,
I see
about
them
equally talented.
They're both, again, the archetype of wide receiver that I want on my team, the one I want to build around. I'm in on them both. I'm actually big on Drake London too, so it would be a dream if Drake London fell to me in the second. I think he's worthy of a first round pick if you're convicted. He's like the type you want to pick.
I think he could have gone over. I think he could go either where Amon Ra went or just after him, depending on what you think.
Yeah, fair. But I think that's a good spot for London. But again, enough. We can't keep overthinking it. Go ahead and give me Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It's
when I picked Drake London, I was like, man,
it's one of those players that you just kind of like,
right
you kind of have to nut down. No, you got to nut up or shut up, and you got to nut down on him.
Down, Tatiana.
But no, he's. I mean, imagine Team 6 right here starting Jahmyr Gibbs and Derrick Henry, sign off on running backs for a while because they're never coming out of your lineup. Derrick Henry, he had the concerns of him only being a first and second down player. Okay, don't care. If it's first and second down, he's getting the ball. Goal line, forget about it. You watched him, it was a guaranteed touchdown anytime they were inside the 5.
I guess he did. I guess he was somewhat of first and second down, but yeah, it didn't matter.
Well, no, that was the reason I made the stupid decision and trade him for Tyreek, was because I watched all the Ravens games, and I watched what the hell is his name? The little guy, the little running back, number 43, run up onto the field.
Mitchell?
No, that was Keaton Mitchell. That was 2 years ago. My God, why can't I think of his name? Anyways, the third down back come in, and it was so frustrating because it's like, we're so greedy with a guy like Derrick Henry. It's like, give him the ball. And the Ravens very clearly said, if we're in 3rd and 8, Derrick Henry is not even on the field. However, like I said, is a guaranteed touchdown. You get inside the 5 for Derrick Henry. They give it to him 4 straight times if need be. Don't overthink it. He's not washed. He is elite. Move on.
Yeah. It was either Mitchell or Justice Hill.
That was him, Justice Hill.
Okay. I don't think this pick is very complicated either. I think we've already talked about it at length, honestly, and I think you got to take Christian McCaffrey here. I mean, personally, I would be taking Christian McCaffrey over Derrick Henry, but again, just a toss-up.
Yeah, but you can. They're in the same tier of like older question mark guys, but both. I mean, Derrick Henry finished the year as the running back too. So,
I think Christian McCaffrey is coming into the season that Derrick Henry just went into last year when you're talking about where he's getting drafted.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think it's
injury
any disrespect.
risk. He's old. He might be first down. Blah 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 blah. Isaac Grenda. Blah 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 blah. And then he's arguably the best running back in the league. So I mean, that's
and it's the
what
cheapest,
Christian McCaffrey could be this year.
The cheapest you'll get him since his rookie year. So
we could all be slapping the back of our necks with our dicks at the end of next season for not drafting Christian McCaffrey 101.
As Grandma used to say.
Yep.
All right. Well, so this makes this pick easy for me. It's Trey McBride.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, looking at the board,
I know this for a fact because I've done many mock drafts at my spot at 5, and there's 0% chance that Trey McBride is getting past me. And at this point, since you picked McCaffrey there, my pick there would have been McBride. So there's no way he should get past a midway point in the second round. Again, the tight end position has shrunken. I mean, it's always been small, but now that we've got 2 new elite dogs on the field, scoop them up while you can, because it makes a hell of a difference in a fantasy lineup to have them on your team.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you need me to stall for more time so you can make your pick?
What's up?
I said you need stall for more time to make your pick.
Dude, just looking at this list, it's getting hairy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
This is where the fun begins.
I think this is where I honestly really start reaching on players. Of course, this ADP is not really what it's going to end as. I actually just saw a player that I was like, holy shit, I might have taken him over Christian McCaffrey. So I guess I'll draft him now because I've got him over all these players, and that's Jonathan Taylor.
Okay. It's going to be an unpopular opinion, but...
I mean,
at least looking at the running backs left, like I'm definitely taking him over Josh Jacobs, Achan, Bucky. Um, and then I think definitely
He's worth it to me.
the
I'm not
AJ
on
Brown
the.
situation. It was really between him, AJ Brown, and Josh Allen for me at that point.
Yeah,
But I just feel like that's a tried and true pick.
yeah, and for me, he's someone who's still elite, which I'm not concerned about him not being elite. And I think most of his concern right now is like how good is the Colts offense going to be with Richardson and Daniel Jones. I'm not too concerned. I think Jonathan Taylor is still going to be worthy of this pick. However, it's been a minute since we took a receiver. Well, you took London 4 picks ago, but AJ Brown is the last. Yeah. AJ Brown's the last of the elite wide receivers for me, and I think that's fair for him to be the last of that because as someone who traded for him last year, you felt the Saquon effect where it's like, AJ Brown can go off and have an elite game, and he's on talent level, he's the same as the rest of the guys. It's just pure opportunity is what kicks him to the bottom of that tier. But he is in that tier, and he deserves that pick.
Yeah, he's tough for me because he does it. He does it every single year where he starts off like blazing hot. Even on the Titans, he starts off blazing hot, and I don't know what happens to him. I don't know if he mentally gets out of the game or he just is so much of a diva that he just annoys everybody. I don't know what's happening exactly, but it seems like every single year he trails off the back end of the year. And it's not that he's terrible, but he just all those boom games go away, and he's just a steady 9 points.
Yeah.
It's just not a. He like wins you every single week the 1st half of the season, and then he's just okay. He's almost borderline a flex player. It seems like towards the back half of the year, these last couple years, and it's I honestly put him in a tier. He's like in his own tier, in my opinion. I don't see him as the elite. Like I don't see him on the level of Drake London or Brian Thomas, but he's also still above everybody else.
Yeah, well, that's why. So we're saying the same thing without saying it. Is like that's why I think should be the last one of that tier, for that specific reason.
So you're saying like the last, but like also the last in the standings of that elite tier.
Right.
Okay.
So he's in that tier skill wise, potential wise. Like AJ Brown is the final person I think that can finish as the number 1 receiver in the league on big plays alone.
For sure. I mean, especially if Saquon goes down next year. I mean, Saquon's not necessarily been the healthiest player in his career either. So
yeah, and so I know who this pick should be, and
I think
that
like if we were, I think I know who I want to pick. But I also think I know who like I should just pick for the sake of this, just to be, yeah, okay. Oh, we know who it is. It's Josh Allen.
See, and that's exactly who I was going to say. As someone who is a quarterback enthusiast for fantasy football, who needs to have one of the top guys for whatever method of acquisition.
Here, you talk about my pick. And then talk about your pick, and then I'm going to pee.
You know what? I almost said the same thing because we've been out here for a minute, and...
You have to pee too?
Yeah. So, you do your thing. No, I ain't stopping it. I'll keep him entertained as we go through.
Okay. Okay, now I'll entertain. Okay.
Yeah. So, Josh Allen and having one of those elite options at quarterback it's a gift that keeps on giving because you just set them in your lineup. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, injury concern, grab you a solid backup, and then you can deal with it, but you can't project that. So having Josh Allen in your lineup, who has a fat rushing upside, who is the king of the team, he's very much in the Patrick Mahomes era, Chiefs era of his football life cycle where he doesn't have elite options. However, he's going to spread the ball around and they're going to be a great offense. Basically, all that yardage and scoring beneficiary is to him. He is the beneficiary of that elite offense. He is the one who's going to be taken off from the 8-yard line and scoring a rushing touchdown. They didn't ban the tush push, so he still does that. You can't overthink it. And for me, that's where I would put him, because the peace of mind that comes with having Josh Allen at your quarterback one spot and never thinking about it, I can worry about other positions. I can make moves to trade for another receiver, another running back. It's an unpopular opinion. I think it's unconventional. It's how I've won 4 championships. And it's one I'm going to stick to. So I'm curious who I think, as I'm looking at that was the last pick of the second round. So I look at the teams. Which combo would I rather have? And I think I'm going to wait to go pee until Justin comes back, because I'm going to have him talk about that proposition. So we'll see. I mean, Allen, Chase, hell of a way to start your team. Barkley, A.J. Brown. Again, if I was this person, I probably wouldn't have taken Barkley and Brown on the same team, but especially when you have the choice, but still can't go wrong. Bijan Taylor, running back. McBride, Jefferson, which I think might be my favorite. Lamb, McCaffrey, Gibbs, Henry. All right, so I was just going through. Well, I am going to go pee, but I'm giving you a conversational topic to discuss while I go pee. Right. Which of the 10 teams here is your favorite duo to start with?
What?
Which of the 10 teams, we've been through 2 rounds.
Like stacks?
No, not stacks. I'm saying these teams right here. Which one is your favorite? And that might give you some idea on what your favorite draft spot might be.
What's your pick?
I haven't said yet. I'll say when I come back.
Okay. Oh, man. Okay. So at the team 1, we got Jamar Chase and Allen. Team 2, we have Saquon and AJ. Okay. That's actually kind of shitty, because they're both Eagles, so, if they have a bad game, they're probably both bad, but they're also both good players, so, whatever. Chase and Allen is nasty, I'm not going to lie. That's nasty. Although, if I draft Chase, I'm probably letting it go, or letting the quarterback position go and picking Burrow at some point if I can. Holy shit, that was the fastest fucking pee I've ever seen in my life.
Well, my bathroom is about 6 feet from here.
Dude, I didn't even get through the first 3 teams.
I figured not.
Deadass. Spend fucking 10 seconds.
All right.
Well, I guess we can talk through it together then.
Yeah.
Did you already choose one?
Yeah, I already chose one.
Okay, well then you can listen to me. Okay. I was saying that Jamar Chase and Allen is nasty, but I think if I had chosen Jamar Chase, I think I would have let Allen slip past me so I can get Burrow. Let me see. Jefferson,
I think this one was relatively easy for me.
Neighbors and Thomas is nice. Honestly, I think it's Bijan Jonathan Taylor.
The RB? Yeah, that one wasn't on my short list. I had 3 on my short list, but this one, so I'll give you.
Okay, I'll tell you my short list.
Well, here I'm gonna tell you my third place. Third place was Chase and Allen, only because having the best at 2 different positions feels so good. The number 1 option at 2 different positions feels so good. Number 2 was Nico Collins and Brock Bowers. I told you I love Nico Collins, and Brock Bowers being the best tight end potentially in the league, I'm in on that. But my winner, kind of a wide margin, is Team 4 with Justin Jefferson and Trey McBride.
I was going to say, I would take that over Bowers.
But yeah, that's my number one is McBride and Jefferson because I take a tier of Jefferson over Collins and I view Bowers and McBride 1A 1B. So to have those options and then the plethora of running backs that are still available to be taken to tandem with those guys, that was my pick.
Okay, I mean, yeah. My issue is that you picked all 1-2 positions.
What do you mean?
And typically that's just not my style. I usually I don't know. It's tough to draft a 1-2 position in the second round. It really is. Because you're really
I've
giving
always
up.
liked it.
Because, I mean, just look at, like, having Amon-Ra and Drake London is nasty. Having Neighbors and Thomas is nasty. Robinson and Jonathan Taylor, like, that's... You're
Yes.
shirt up.
Which is true. However, I will say you start more receivers and running backs, and there's more that play at a high level than there is at tight end specifically. So you can fill those gaps throughout the year.
Yeah.
You can make trades for other players, but like to get Bowers and McBride off of someone is like nearly impossible. So to set it and forget it, and as I was explaining when you're peeing, especially for Josh Allen, I was like, that's a luxury to set it and forget it and not have to worry about benching or switching or matchup proofing. Like that's just how I
For
like
sure.
to play. And I can put my sole attention into other positions and work from there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think I've ever done it, actually. I don't think I've ever drafted a quarterback or tight end before the 5th round.
I've definitely done it before the 4th or 5th round. However, I don't think I've done it in the second. I don't think I've done it in the second round. I did Josh Allen in the second round of our dynasty startup, which I stand behind.
Yeah, that's different.
But I did usually it'll be 3rd or 4th before, but the rounds are irrelevant. I'm talking about the players available to take them. These guys just happen to be going the second round, which it's just like they're worth it, so I'm fine with it. It's just then they were in the 3rd, maybe 4th, which I'm fine with that then.
Yeah.
So it's just where we're at with these players. But let's close this
All right.
bitch out. Ready?
Yeah, what's your pick?
Oh, I forgot that wasn't my pick because it was my pick. So yeah, it's about time that Devon Achane comes off the board. So go ahead and take him.
Okay.
The competition still isn't there for him. He has huge play upside. I think 3rd round. So for team 1 to be able to get that caliber as his running back 1, and then can fill with different archetypes of players down the line, I'm big on. I don't think that Achane is in the tier of the rest of those guys, which I think ADP will creep up and a few more people might slide up here. But it really just depends on what you want, and I think Achane, it's an appropriate pick at that point.
Yeah. I'll pick the player that I think I would just interchange, but I think Bucky goes for me. Bucky would have been my pick at the turn, but again, 50-50. Where we like better. Same position, so.
Yeah, I'm out on Bucky Irving at that point in time.
Really?
Not out, but just
Oh.
I think his ADP should be behind other players at the same
There's
position.
still left?
Yeah, 100%. So give me Josh Jacobs.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
It's just I'll
I
take.
can't lie. I sleep on Josh Jacobs, but
You
I
do
just
sleep
think
on
that
Josh Jacobs, man.
I just think that I don't know. Personally, I'd rather take the young hotness who broke out last year rather than somebody who's just getting older and older and
Yeah, and that's fine.
has a lot of
And
miles on the tires.
I don't fault anyone for going that over that. Young gun, freshly hyped up. I just really like Josh Jacobs as someone who had him on his team last year and has him on his dynasty team It feels good knowing that he's the only guy there on a great offense with a good team.
He's just a tried and true player.
And with massive upside. And Bucky has that
Yeah.
too. It's just
I think
still,
Bucky's upside's definitely higher, but
I think again, which I told you, like my philosophy is like touchdown potential. I'm not even saying like, oh, this person scores more touchdowns, so like they're better. But the opportunity for touchdowns with Jacobs, I think, is more because there's less elite options on that offense, and they're a team that once they get inside the 5, they'll give it to him 3 times, similar to Derrick Henry. I had them both on my, or no, I traded Henry for Jacobs, but I didn't feel like I missed out that much on that type of player with Henry and Jacobs because I was getting the same situational player at that point. So I don't fault anyone. It's just not where I would go, especially when we're talking about positional advantages and if we want a running back, who we would take at that point versus who's left. So on and so forth.
yeah, I think this might be actually very controversial here. I'm just looking at who's left, and this is one of those players you got to go with the heart because he's not coming back in the next round. And that's Terry McLaurin.
Dang, that's crazy.
He finishes as the wide receiver 5 last year,
Mm-hmm.
and yet he's going as the wide receiver, I don't know, 8, 9 right now in this mock.
I mean, right now you took him as the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 as the 11th receiver.
As the 11th. So I just think it's just disrespectful. You know?
I mean,
Jay
Debo's
Daniels
new in
is
town.
going into his sophomore season. You know, typically, that's a lot better than your freshman.
Yeah.
Or rookie season. So, I don't see any reason why he won't, maybe he doesn't have as many touchdowns as he did last year, but I could very well see him having more yardage.
I think that's very true too, and I'm in on McLaurin. And this is my least favorite. The end of second, early third round wide receivers are my least favorite because I don't
That's why I reached
feel
for him.
right, and that is because if we're making these picks, if it was me, like it's my technical spot right now, I would be looking at other positions because I'm not sold on all of these receiver options. So it's really tough to make these decisions, but I think he's being slept on way too much, and I think it's got to be Kyron. I think people are scared, but I'm going to take Kyron here.
I mean, I was honestly debating between Kyron. So I don't hate it. I think it's just the James Robinson scaries. I think it's just a late round player that.
Yeah, but he's done it. James Robinson was a one-hit wonder in 1 year. He's been elite for
James
2.
Robinson was multiple years.
I don't know about that, but regardless, I think it's just fatigue with him, and he does have some advanced metrics that aren't so promising to be repeatable. He scores a lot of touchdowns, but however, I feel like it's just a product of the team he's on. And they give him the ball at the 1 yard line a bunch of times. So I have a type. I have a type. And it's you win fantasy football by having upside players with a consistent touchdown probability is the way I can describe it. And Kyron Williams is one of those.
Yeah. I looked up James Robinson. He had 2 years. So
2 years that like
not many as I thought, but one more than you thought.
Wow.
Yeah. This is getting gross. I think I'm really gonna start reaching on people here. I feel like I'm kind of sleeping on some people for sure. Definitely based off of most people's ADPs. But typically, I'm that type of drafter. To be honest with you, I kind of fall in love with people. And I just draft who I want, regardless of, like, if I know he's not coming back to me in the next round, like, I don't care. I'm gonna draft him here.
Yeah.
That's typically how I play, because I just want to have the most fun possible, and I don't really care. Like, I'm not the biggest Puka fan. I'm not the biggest Puka fan. And so even though he might be a better player than Drake London, I'd probably draft Drake London over him because I'd rather have Drake London on my team.
Yeah, we're all about vibes on this show.
Yeah. So with that being said, I was trying to stall as long as I could.
That's all right. I already have my pick ready to rock and roll. So if you want me to take this one, I can take it.
You know, I'll just go ahead and pick the player that I think Brian needs to go here.
This is going to be
It's
the
not
same
actually-
thing.
It's George Kittle.
Damn. This high? It's
I think George Kittle needs to go. He was actually the tight end one last year.
no, Bowers was the tight end one, but
No. You wrong.
in our league, you talking about?
I think
It might
in
be
our league
might have been in our
as
league.
well.
But regardless, I mean, if we're thinking about the same situations with McBride and Bowers, George Kittle does belong in that conversation. It just seems crazy to see him in the third because he currently isn't going nearly this high in ADP, so it just seems wild to do it. But will he be worth the investment? So say if you would rather do,
He wasn't too far down.
I mean, maybe people are pushing him up, but third round for a 9-year-old George Kittle is worth it. Like it is going to be worth it. So again,
Yeah.
but that's me. I'm a huge elite
Yeah, he's
tight
got another
end.
deal.
I'm a huge elite tight end drafter. So, but I thought we were going to go to the same player here, who I think just deserves to be in this range and should not get past here. Go ahead and give me Lamar Jackson.
Oh, interesting. No, I actually,
What?
I was gonna take Jane. Oh fuck. Hold on.
Whoa! Wrong. There we go.
I was going to take Jane Daniels. Is what I was going to say.
Oh, so you take Jaden Daniels over Lamar Jackson? I think that's
I would.
preposterous. That's preposterous.
I would because Lamar Jackson, until last season, took off like 3 seasons of not really being that good. Yeah, he came back to it last season. He was great.
I would be curious to see
But-
the comparison to Jaden Daniels' rookie year versus Lamar Jackson's off years. I bet you they're very similar. And Lamar Jackson's coming off of what probably,
no,
in
I
my
don't
opinion,
think so.
should have been the MVP.
I don't think you remember how Lamar Jackson had a couple years where he only had like 20 touchdowns.
Yeah, but he's a solid 700 to 800 yards rushing. So
Well, yeah.
I'd be curious. I'll pull it up after we finish to see. But I would never do Lamar Jackson over Jaden Daniels. I think Lamar Jackson is cemented as the QB2. And we can take it from there.
Okay.
So go ahead and take Daniels here. That was going to be your pick. So go ahead and lock it in. We'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone so we can move this thing along.
Yeah, let's do that.
And this is where I think it's appropriate to take Lad McConkey.
No, actually,
What?
Jane Daniels is like right up there with one of Lamar Jackson's best seasons.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Lamar Jackson had 242 points
Mm-hmm.
for the year about 2 years ago. Jane Daniels had 364 this past year
In our league?
in sleeper. So
In sleeper?
standard.
All right.
Yeah, I mean Jane Daniels was elite. Here's the thing: is I think Jane Daniels is a much better passer than Lamar Jackson. Okay, I guess it's not much better because I mean they're both elite quarterbacks, but I think he's a much more natural passer early on in his career. Like Lamar Jackson came in the league and just ran his little heart out and learned how to throw along the way. Jane Daniels came in, he already knew how to throw.
Yeah, I mean, very similar comps of players, Heisman winners, unconventional journeys to the NFL. So I'm not hating on Jayden Daniels. I'm just saying Lamar Jackson should have won the MVP last year. And I mean, you can compare last year's Jayden Daniels to 3 years ago Lamar Jackson.
Saquon should have won the MVP last year.
Well,
but
whatever, man. But give me Ladd McConkey. And you know me, I'm a notorious hater of Ladd McConkey, but that's because
he needed to go.
He deserves to
He
be
would've been my next
here.
pick.
He was in. I mean, he's being mocked like mid-second round, and I just can't do it. I can't do it there. But back of the third, I'm in. He had a hell of a campaign his rookie year and should not be disrespected for that. So go ahead and slap me with a Ladd on Team 9.
I did slap you with a lad. I agree. I was going to, if you didn't tell me to take Daniels, I was going to take McConkey. So
Okay, cool. But you had to take
All right.
Daniels.
I'm gonna reach once again.
He's reaching.
I think it's reach time. I think I'm gonna reach into the cookie jar and pull out
a turd.
Marvin Harrison.
I don't think that's a reach.
I mean, he was.
It's just
I
there's
had to scroll down.
there's a few receivers in the, but I mean if you're projecting the breakout, I'm all for it, man. I would
Oh, he
love to
was-
see him. I was gonna say I'd love to see him broken out, but does that work?
He's going like 10 spots later. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, all right, I'm
yeah,
cool with it.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, it's not that crazy of a reach, but yeah, I just looking at the names that I'm just more excited about Marvin Harrison than I am about Jackson Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Jackson Smith is good, but he's not the archetype. He's similar to Ladd McConkey. You know what I mean? He's not a alpha wide receiver. He's a Devonta Smith, Ladd McConkey type.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison, if he hits, is going to hit. Like, he's going to be probably top 10 guarantee.
This is
And
where
you
he
get
should have
that
been
in the third
drafted
round.
last year. This is where he should have been drafted last year.
Where was he drafted? The second round?
Pick number 9, 10, towards the end of the first round.
Yeah, he got way too much hype last year.
Of course he did.
Honestly, I think if you had drafted him at where he's getting drafted right now, you wouldn't be that upset.
You would still be a little upset, but you wouldn't be like, he tanked my season because I drafted
Yeah.
him instead of Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, the thing is, he had a good rookie season. Actually, he did. Amongst the Cardinals just not really having a good team, so I think they'll get better. As goofy as that coach is, I think
Jonathan
he's
Gannon.
smart.
Yeah, I'm in on Harrison this year.
I'm in.
So, I think this always feels bad, but I think it's the right move, and I actually think it's going to be incredible this year. Is T. Higgins?
Ooh, T. Higgins.
Give me T. Higgins.
Yes, Daddy.
Imagine if you were able to start this draft, this Team 10, Puka, Marvin Harrison, T. Higgins, and Genty. That just like
Wow.
feels horny.
Team 10 might be the winner now.
Well, wait until the rest of we finish out this fourth round. But yeah, T. Higgins, when he's on the field, he's insane, and that's just the caveat there is when. And if he's healthy, we're all going to be happy. So go on ahead.
Oh man, this is. I don't love these players as much,
Why? What about it, Daniel-san?
They just got suckier for some reason. I can't put my name on it or my finger on it.
Well, as we go
These
down the
players just
draft
started
board,
getting really bad, man.
as we go down the draft board, the players are going to get suckier.
Well, I want to pick Brian Thomas again.
Well, ain't the way our wonderful game works, my G. Hit me
Whatever.
with
We'll
your
just,
best
we'll just go ahead and
shot.
pick. This isn't. Just don't hold me to this at the end of the off season. Our opinion's gonna change.
So who we got?
I'm gonna take Garrett Wilson.
This man likes himself some Garrett Wilson. He's a glutton for punishment. He just keeps wanting
I'm
to
a
get
glad for punishment.
railed.
Look, DJ Moore was a just look. Justin Fields can produce for a wide receiver. Honestly, I think Justin Fields has actually gotten better and better
I think so
versus
too.
like Sam Darnold. Like I don't actually think Sam Darnold has gotten better and better throughout his career. I think he got in a perfect landing spot with the best wide receiver in the league. I think Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league over Jamar Chase, over CeeDee Lamb, over everybody. He's
Yeah.
the best wide receiver we may have ever seen since Randy Moss or Jerry Rice.
For sure.
So, but with Justin Fields, I actually think that he has improved, and I think that it's scary. It's scary because it's the Jets, but I'm kind of back in on the Jets this year.
It's what got me
Kind
to
of
draft
excited.
Brees Hall in the first round last year.
I'm somewhat excited
No,
for
I
you.
know.
Well, I'm
No,
not
I
excited for
know.
Brees Hall that much because actually Justin Fields might hurt that a bit. But
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I'm wanting to like Garrett Wilson, and I think he will return on his 4th round draft capital. So I'm in on that pick. Um, and everyone's gonna hate me for this too, but give me Devontae Adams.
oh my god,
Yeah, feels
I
good to
can't
put
hate
him
that
right
much
there.
'cause I've reached on some players, but
I told you I'm in on Devontae
I will
Adams.
say that's a little nasty.
I don't think it's nasty. I think that Matthew
Over
Stafford.
Mike Evans
I drafted Devontae Adams.
over Rashi Rice.
I drafted Devontae Adams over Mike Evans in our dynasty league, back to back. I picked Adams. You picked Evans. I could have taken Evans. I'm a believer
That
in
was
the
last
player.
year.
Well, correct. And I think that he's in a better position now than he was when I drafted him when he was on the Raiders last year. I still think he's elite. Matthew Stafford is good enough. I'm there.
Yeah, it's not that I don't think Adams is still good. I just don't, like I said, I don't believe in Matthew Stafford to that extent at this point, which actually really hurts my heart because I've been a Matthew Stafford fan forever. I've always said he's the most underrated quarterback to probably ever exist in the NFL after Andrew Luck, obviously. I do feel like we're really starting to disrespect Jackson Smith, too,
Yeah, go ahead. He deserves to be
but I
here.
don't want him.
Oh, okay.
You do that.
Yeah. Well, go
Yeah.
ahead and make your pick, and he would be mine
Ah,
regardless.
shit. Okay, well, fuck. Okay.
What?
Honestly, I was about to take Jalen Hurts, but this team already has Lamar Jackson, so we said we were going to be, somewhat conscious of that. So
Yeah.
fuck
There's lots more goodness to go
it,
around.
we'll go ahead and take Jackson Smith.
Yeah. And then go ahead and put Jalen Hurts on here because it's about time he goes too.
Okay, so you were on board with me.
Yeah. No, I was on board. And
Just Jackson Smith, like, why isn't Jordan Addison going this high?
because he's behind the best receiver in football. And
But yeah,
he's
pretty
been
sure he
very
finished
touchdown.
over Jackson Smith last year.
JSN finished as the wide receiver 10, I believe.
I
And-
believe Addison also finished in the top 10.
No. He had, I think, 10 touchdowns last year. But there are situations I don't think are that. I don't think they're that similar. It's just
They're not similar at all. It's a completely different thing because I think Jackson Smith is, it's basically like, oh, Jackson Smith has all the opportunity in the world now. He should be good.
Yeah, I don't think Cooper Kupp being there is nothing, and I'm not the biggest better on Sam Darnold. So he's not the archetype specific player of where I think he's worthy of the ADP he currently has, but that's just me, and that's why he's in the, towards the top third of the 4th round for us. And I think that's fine for how we play fantasy.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just not a believer in that coaching staff after seeing what they did last year. I think that their team was
Well,
way
they got a
too
new
talented.
OC.
Who?
Oh my God, it was Grubb last year. He's fired. Damn it, I can't remember who it is. They got a new OC. Can't think of who it was.
No, it's not Chip Kelly. He's on the Raiders.
Yeah, can't think of it. But well, you're saying the same coaching staff. I know for a fact their OC changed. So
Either way, though, I don't know if I love that head coach still, and yeah, I don't know.
McDonald.
It is what it is.
all right.
He's a good player.
And then Jalen Hurts, he is going to benefit from the tush push once again. He was on his way to bringing me a championship until he got knocked out of that game. I digress. And I think the fatigue and the burns that Jalen Hurts gave everyone at the end of last year and the emergence of Saquon Barkley taking a lot of the offense away from him in his passing game and his rushing touchdown game, which is dumb because he still had a bajillion. It pushed him down from being the QB2 because he's been the consensus QB2 for 2 years in a row. And now we've got him at QB4 as evidenced by this mock draft, which I don't think is crazy. So it's about time he comes here.
Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and pick James Cook.
Ugh, really?
I think James Cook is getting slept on. He was incredible last year. I think he could go above Kyron Williams, Jacobs, Bucky, or HN.
He could.
Personally,
could.
I think, depending on my mood, I would take him over him.
Yeah, and I agree with that as well.
I think if it wasn't for the
fact-
contract situation going on right now, his ADP would be much higher.
I just know. So he has scored. He pissed me off because he went from physically not being capable to score touchdowns because not of his ability, it's the way the team used him. Showed me that to flipping the script to doing the exact opposite to where he was only a touchdown machine.
It was funny because they drafted Ray Davis,
Which and he
and so we're
vultured
like,
a couple
oh,
too.
shit.
But
Huh?
I said, and he vultured a couple too. But James Cook tied O.J. Simpson's franchise record for touchdowns in a year. So
Well, I think what happened was, though, I wouldn't say that because they did put Ray Davis on the goal line a lot. But Ray Davis was inefficient, and James Cook, I think, had a lot of touchdowns from outside 20 yards as well.
I'd be curious
If
to
I
see how
remember
many.
correctly, like a lot of his yard or touchdowns didn't actually come from goal line.
I'm only remembering the game against the Jets where he had that 4 touchdown game where he scored a few long ones. So I'd be curious
Yeah.
to see what the rest of them were. What their
Well, I'm not even
differences
saying
were.
long, but I think he did score.
Yeah, like
quite a few
outside
from,
the
like-
10-yard line, outside the 15-yard line, something like that.
I mean,
but-
he's just a shifty guy. So
All right, give me Mike Evans.
yeah, it was between James Cook and Mike Evans for me. So
Mike Evans
like
is
that
still that guy. I've beaten it over the head a million times, but he's my prototypical type of receiver that I want for fantasy. That offense is going to be good. The rapport with Baker, the better offense. They're going to put up a ton of points, and I'm excited for the Bucs this coming season. Maybe I'll have a few pieces besides Bucky because I just think he's like out of this world overpriced. But Mike Evans has been that guy. You know what you're getting with upside. So he deserved to be in this top
points-
4 draft. That's all I'm saying. This top 4 rounds. He deserves to go here.
for sure, I think at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and take Rashi Rice.
Yeah.
I also think that he deserves to go in this mock. I just traded for him in our Dynasty League, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. But the reason I traded for him is because I'm in.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for shits and giggles.
As someone who drafted him
Um,
last year, I'm kind of out.
Really?
Yeah.
Why so?
I just think
You were so happy to have him.
I was, because I knew that he was going to be like the number one target. I saw in the preseason he's like great yard after catch guy, and I don't know. I I don't have any specific hardcore thing that tells me that he's not going to repeat what he was. I do
You
think
just
the
think
injury.
Xavier Worthy's that guy, or
Well, I think Xavier Worthy is no longer a rookie and proved himself. Was their first round pick. Hollywood Brown is there, who produced when he was healthy throughout the playoffs, and there's always still Travis Kelce there. And I don't think that. Plus, Rice coming off the injury, I know it wasn't like the world's most devastating injury, but I don't. I didn't see Rice as a talent that is like demanding the usage.
I think if you watch the Super Bowl back, if you watch the playoffs back in general, that team is still starving for a wide receiver one. Like, yeah, Marquise Brown or Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, like, yes, they did shit for sure. Xavier Worthy stepped up because they fucking needed him to really
Yeah.
badly. And yeah, so like, yeah, they did some stuff, but you can tell throughout the playoffs and especially the Super Bowl, like they need an alpha wide receiver really bad. They need Patrick Mahomes to get back to being that 5,050 guy. And so that's why I'm in. I think they're like they're in. I think they're sold on Rashi Rice. I think when he comes back, he's gonna get all the targets. Obviously, Travis Kelsey's not gonna be that guy anymore. Not that he's not gonna do anything, and that's why he's also down here because I think he'll be the wide receiver one for one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But yeah, he has all those other options.
Yeah, and I agree. And he very well could outprice this wide receiver 18 ADP
I think where
is what
he's going, he's more than likely going to outproduce his ADP. That's my opinion. I think it's
Yeah,
more likely than not.
I can see that. I mean, there is a world where he outproduces, and he, I think his ceiling is like wide receiver 12 though.
I don't know. I think if he, I mean, just looking at this list, I think where I took Terry McLaurin, I think him and Terry McLaurin are probably tit for tat if he ends up hitting. Which I mean, yeah, it's about
That's
7 or 8.
Well, 2, 4, 6, 7. No, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. You took McLaurin as a wide receiver 10. I said Rashi Rice is wide receiver 12. I think it's his ceiling, which I think that's more than fair, with how the Chiefs have been playing offense and spreading the wealth around. I don't think but however, Mike Evans has very recently been the wide receiver 6, 7. I can't remember what he finished at. It was insane. Not this past year, the year prior. JSN just finished at 10. Devontae Adams has been the number 1 overall, which you probably won't at this point in time. But Garrett Wilson with the volume could. T. Higgins is insane when he's on the field. He could. Marvin Harrison. There's just like guys around this area. Clearly, we drafted the other guys before him, so I'm not saying like that he is on the same level. We picked those other players before him for a reason. It's just I got the heebie-jeebies, man.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah, I
explain
guess. In my opinion, I think T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, and Jackson, they're getting drafted where their ceiling is.
Mm,
In my opinion. Especially T. Higgins and Devontae Adams.
could be. Very much could be. So,
I know you're
Alright.
not Devontae Adams, but I'm just saying, like, with Puka, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. So, who are you going to pick?
all right. I'm gonna close my last pick out with. Oh my gosh, I had someone in mind, and now I feel like I can't do it, but I feel like it's the right move. With these players who is available right now, give me Kenneth Walker, the 4th round.
I like it.
It's just we're looking
It
at
really
players
bums me
around
out
him.
because it really bums me out.
Why?
Because I thought Joe Burrow deserved to go, but he's
Hey,
not
wh-
going to go now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fourth round. This is extremely high for a quarterback. Joe Burrow is the QB5 in this draft, which that I don't think is like up for debate. So give him. I mean, you could take him high. I'm saying he's at least the QB5, depending on what you believe. But I think the 4 players we picked at QB before him are valid. However, we're just doing a 4-round mock, so he could go in the 5th or 6th round, still be the QB5, and I don't think it's like disrespectful at that point.
That's true. That's true.
So make your last pick.
All right. I feel like we really are disrespecting Chase Brown,
Probably.
but I'm gonna continue to do so.
As long as you don't take Brees Hall, I will forgive you.
I'm gonna pick Joe Mixon.
I knew that's who you were going to go. I will say, Joe Mixon, I think, I'm in on Joe Mixon. I had him last year. The end of the year really sucked. Like, after that ankle injury, it was just downhill from there, and it did not feel good. I was going to say honorable mention for that last spot is I think Alvin Kamara is a sneaky pick at running back. If you weren't going to do Joe Mixon, I think I might have taken Alvin Kamara there. Just on pure volume alone and just like him being part of the team or a major focal point of the team with nothing else going on with those trash quarterbacks. It's just it goes against my philosophy of like a good team and the tiebreaker.
I just think they're going to be the worst team in the league.
It might be. It might be.
But so were the Panthers last year, and
Chuba Hubbard was great.
Chuba was good. So
All right, let's close it down.
all right.
I don't think
real quick, just literally scan it. What's your best team? What's the best team?
It's tough now because now we're looking at more like team build up, but like which one would I be? Because like we know the rest of the NFL players, we know like who all is left. So which start? If someone said we're gonna draft the first 4 rounds and you have to pick which team to continue off of. Ooh, that's interesting because my winner was team 4 for the first 2, but now it's not. Jefferson, McBride, McLaurin, Evans. That's 2 wide receiver heavy with too much variance there. Ooh, let me think.
It's actually really hard.
Chase Allen, Achane, Mixon, which honestly, that's exactly the type of situation I was talking about. Remember when I said that Achane goes here and you can fill up running backs with different archetype to like balance it out? That's the perfect running back to go along with Achane in the 4th round. But A.J. Brown, Barkley, Bucky, and Ken Walker is insane. We ruined Team 3 with Rice, or else that would be extremely tempting for me. Lamb, McCaffrey, Kyle Williams, Cooks. Bro, it might have to be Team 6 with Gibbs, Henry, Kittle, and Hurts. I know it feels crazy because, like, you get both onesie positions in there, so that feels like almost its own little mini team. But you've got elite options at each spot right there.
Yeah, but we also do know that like
The wide receivers are going to trail out.
Wide receivers just drop off.
Okay, so I mean that's fair.
I'm
That's a fair
between
point.
1 and 10.
I was gonna say 10 is a close second. So you know what? I think I'm gonna take HN. Come on. Yeah, give me team 1. Give me team 1. I got to.
Yeah, it's the most balanced for sure.
And just like that team 1 with Jamar Chase, Josh Allen, HN, and Mixon is
I think
prepared for the rest
realistically
of the
that's
draft.
the better team, but also like, damn, I don't know. I think I'd rather have team 10, but
Well,
also not really.
I'm just thinking about which team is best prepared for the rest of the draft that also has players that I love, and it's
Because
it's
you're
the same
basically
one.
freed up. Like you already know you're just punting the tight end position, and basically at this point you're just going best wide receiver available, best wide receiver available, best wide receiver available, throwing a running back.
Well, yeah, depending on the round, just go best player available, and you'll be fine at that point.
Yeah.
So, all right, that was a long video, but we got it done
As we tend to do.
as we tend to do. But I had a good time, and this was a different type of video than we've had before. Hope you all have, if you made it this far, enjoyed the new upgraded setup, visuals, everything that we got going on. Continue to make improvements each and every episode. But that's all we got. Team 1 seems to win with Chase, Allen, Achane, and Mixon. And so that is the number 1 overall pick. So we said what might be the best spot to draft from, and it looks like it might be the number 1.
Probably is.
So we'll figure it out from there. But we'll close it out. As always, don't miss the last call. Fantasy football. Deuces.